the economies which are not doing well at the moment. Malawi, my country, and other countries also need to grow their GDP in order to reduce poverty, unemployment, and to boost the economy. So in countries where people are doing lots of business and entrepreneurial businesses which have the potential to grow, they will be able to reduce poverty. They will be able to create jobs and thereby reduce unemployment. And they will be able to grow their economies. So this research, this presentation is based on a research that was done in South Africa, which is close to our country, Malawi. And I will present mainly on what they found, and I will link these findings to my own university, as well as maybe other universities, as well as to how we can use universities as places where entrepreneurship can thrive and grow. So if entrepreneurship is the key, what do we need? So we need to change mindsets of Malawians, Africans, Asians, Indonesians, whoever. We need to change their mindsets to become entrepreneurial and to be equipped to start and maintain businesses. In a study that was conducted in 2012, a little bit some years back in South Africa, they looked at a few countries in Africa in terms of the quality of education and their perceived capabilities to start businesses. So Malawi had an 86% score, and our quality of education was ranked at 65. Zambia, the neighbor to Malawi, had a capability of 84% with their quality of education at 39. Namibia, the southern end of Africa, had people's capabilities to start entrepreneurship at 76%, but the quality of education is one of the highest in the region at 126. South Africa, the most developed economy in Southern Africa, had a perceived capacity of 40%, even though the quality of education is the highest at 140%. So it looks like these countries which have got poor quality of education, their population are very much interested in going into business, as opposed maybe to the developed economy of South Africa, where people are able to find jobs easily. Unemployment in Malawi is very high, and people cannot find jobs most easily. Therefore, they have to start businesses, and that is why probably our perceived capability to start a business is the highest in the region. Only Nigeria, Ghana, and Malawi are ranked at 86%, with Uganda being the highest at 88%. Universities have been teaching programs for thousands of years, so to speak, but there has been less time devoted to teaching entrepreneurship. And because of that, very few people are able to manage new businesses. So what is it that we are supposed to do in universities? If universities are to be fertile grounds for entrepreneurship, we need to devote more time to teaching entrepreneurship. And then this will provide young people with the skills with which they can start the businesses and manage them. These lessons will give them, will help them to change their mindset and attitude towards business, because since colonial times, we have been having that attitude of saying, I'll find a job in an office, I'll be putting on a tie and a suit. So that mindset change is needed so that people should change from being employed by someone maybe in a factory to someone who can employ himself or herself by starting their own businesses, and thereby also create new jobs for those who cannot do business on their own. So universities, I repeat, need to devote sufficient time to teaching entrepreneurship. At our university here at St. John the Baptist, we have entrepreneurship programs that we are teaching. The students in doing Bachelor of Business Administration, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Social Work, all of these have got modules of entrepreneurship as one of their modules in the program. However, probably what we don't emphasize much is the mindset change. We teach and students learn just for exams to pass and they get a degree, but we haven't had much emphasis on how to change them, how to change their attitude, and how to encourage them to start their own businesses. I hope I'm audible that side. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. But
all right, thank you.
Your PPT not moved, is it right?
Come again?
We can hear your voice, but your PPT not move.
Oh, my PPT is not moving?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if it can be moving now.
Can we get a full screen for PPT?
Is it able to move?
Yes, but can you full screen your PPT, sir?
Oh, full screen.
Okay,
a moment, please.
Yeah, thank you.
How about it now? Still small? Uko namanya? Yung mana? Font.
We can see your PPT now, sir.
You can see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's proceed then. Right, so I was presenting on this screen I am at. I'm saying entrepreneurs strongly believe that there is insufficient time devoted to teaching entrepreneurship. And because of that, very few people can manage new businesses. Even our own university has programs for entrepreneurship in almost all our courses. But still the curriculum maybe lacks emphasis on mindset change and attitudes, and we're trying to move towards that direction. Okay. Now, what can we do to successfully implement entrepreneurship in education successfully? We need to work with the government on policy. So a policy or policies have to be created which will enable an environment for entrepreneurial activities. Students should see that they, after studying entrepreneurship, they will be supported by the government one way or another to create their own businesses. Our curriculum also needs to equip students with proper skills and knowledge so that they should be able to manage their businesses. They should be able to identify business ideas which give them greater opportunity to survive out there where so many businesses are starting every day. Teachers also need to be trained in entrepreneurship so that they are able to effectively train these young men and women in entrepreneurship. There is also need for the private sector to come in. So a private sector partnership with universities would help to incubate small businesses, would help to fund startups so that our students should not be worried as to where they will find funds because the private sector has joined and the private sector has experience on running businesses. Therefore, they can help our young graduates to incubate their businesses with these private sector organizations. So from what I've talked about policy and private sector and academic institutions, this is the setup that is needed. The government at the top, the business on the other side, and academic institutions. In between, we need intermediaries that can be helping both the government, the business, and academic institutions in order to create an ecosystem for entrepreneurship. Businesses cannot exist without government, and government regulates academic institutions. Academic institutions train students to join the business or sector or the private sector. Academic institutions train entrepreneurs to start businesses. So there is this relationship which has to be developed, and these components can create an ecosystem in which each of these depends on the other for it to exist and for it to grow. So as I've said, Malawi or South Africa needs to develop all the components of the entrepreneur ecosystem. The same with Indonesia over there. You also need to develop the components that would lead to development of an ecosystem for entrepreneurship. Skills that are needed. So the study in South Africa, in the South African universities and business schools, considered 32 out of 36 public higher education institutions, and they responded to the survey about entrepreneurship. And the majority of these had at least one core and one elective module in entrepreneurship. Some universities were offering more than 4, but this is across the entire university. So our friends in South Africa, at least of the 32 universities that responded, they had one core module in entrepreneurship, or at least one elective module in entrepreneurship, to encourage the young ones to learn entrepreneurship while in school, other than maybe just learning by doing after school. So it's very important that entrepreneurs are equipped with skills that will enable them to go out and start their own businesses. At the same time, sometimes you may not start your own business, but when managing an organization, we need managers who have got some creativity, who have got some innovative ideas to turn around maybe organizations that are not performing well. That could also be a contribution from our entrepreneurship education. Um, 95% of South African universities and 91% of business schools surveyed believe that the university sector is not adequately fostering a culture of entrepreneurship. 95% in South Africa of their universities, they believe that the university sector is not doing enough to create or to nurture a culture of entrepreneurship. I would agree with the same, the results even in our own country. We are also being accused that we are not doing enough to foster a culture of entrepreneurship. So respondents were asked a question like this: if you had to generalize, would you personally say that South Africa's university sector is strong in promotion of a culture of entrepreneurship to students and surrounding communities? So the answer was overwhelmingly a no. Okay, for that question, the answer was a no, that South African universities were not doing that. Even here locally in our conferences with the National Council for Higher Education, questions have been asked as to whether our universities are doing enough to foster a culture of entrepreneurship. And definitely the answer has been a no. So it means that a lot has to be done if our universities are to be considered entrepreneurial. A lot has to be done to make our universities entrepreneurial, and therefore to make them fertile grounds for entrepreneurship. It has been found that most higher education institutions will teach entrepreneurship using traditional methods. That is, you just get the books, you have a lecture, a lesson, you teach, and that's all, without using modern or innovative methods of teaching students how to go into business. So research has shown that developing this mindset in our entrepreneurial students is best achieved through what they call interactive pedagogic methods, such as you have to maybe role play, be like an entrepreneur or bring in an entrepreneur, action learning, experiential teaching. Let the teachers also who are teaching entrepreneurship show that they are hands-on with entrepreneurship. Most of us lecturers, we've never done any business, and therefore we cannot impart to our students the practicalities of doing business. So research has shown that this is the case, not only in South Africa, but even here in our country. So there is need to share best practice and develop a standardized entrepreneurship offering across higher education institutions. Each university, what is happening now is that each university has its own curriculum on entrepreneurship, which they consider to be the best. But actually, if we are to share the best practice across our universities, like in Malawi now, we have over 30 universities. So if we were to share the best practice, probably we would be able to help equip our students with entrepreneurship skills. We would be able to change the way we teach from the traditional methods to these interactive pedagogic methods, as I've said, for example, role-playing, action learning, and experiential teaching. These are very important if our students are to learn and are to change their attitudes towards entrepreneurship. So the study in South Africa also looked at what are the challenges facing higher education institutions when they are trying to train their students in entrepreneurship. And one of the top challenges was lack of funding, 95%. Qualification of staff, 75%. Time, 55%. So what was being argued there was that, okay, you can train students in entrepreneurship, but after training, there will be no funding for them to start their businesses. The teachers, lecturers teaching entrepreneurship were not adequately qualified to teach entrepreneurship. And the time allocated to entrepreneurship was not enough, 55%. So the recommendation was that there's need to consider mechanisms to fund entrepreneurship. For example, innovation outputs as a part of the funding formula, to establish entrepreneurship through curricular and extracurricular activities, etc. Research grants. So the study there, you can see recommending that there should be mechanisms to fund entrepreneurship. When students are being taught entrepreneurship just as a module, they learn for examinations and they don't learn to apply it. But if funds were available, then they would also be learning to excel and to be able to access the funds with which they can start their own businesses. The study also made some high-level recommendations. This, for example, to position entrepreneurship education at strategic level. So this is at national level, if we are to take entrepreneurship as education as a strategic issue, then they say this would be important and it would help every maybe government, ministry, as well as higher education institutions to think and put entrepreneurship at the highest level of their curriculum, at the highest level of their learning and teaching and assessment, as well as at their strategic plans. They should put it at the highest level. Another recommendation was to implement entrepreneurship-related initiatives. As we train our students, we should not just train for the sake of exams, but we should also implement activities which are related to entrepreneurship within the campuses, within the universities, to develop partnerships to advance entrepreneurship education. The research recommends that as well, so that we develop partnerships with the private sector, partnerships with other universities in order to advance entrepreneurship education. And also to measure and track entrepreneurship initiatives. Most of the times after the semester is over and the module has been taught, it ends there until another semester comes when the same module will be taught again without checking or tracking whether something has happened with our students, whether they have started doing some businesses. I can confess that we have not been able even ourselves to track these entrepreneurship initiatives by our students after leaving the college campus. So what must universities do if they are to become fertile grounds for entrepreneurship? They must establish entrepreneurship centers at all universities. They must refocus university entrepreneurship initiatives on the students themselves, develop best practice courses and mechanisms for sharing. Universities should create a centralized knowledge sharing site in the cloud, and relevant IP should be shared and considered as a national asset. Universities must allocate funding especially for entrepreneurship development. And an initiative like a new national entrepreneurship week can be considered in the universities. So these are some recommendations which also are directed at universities specifically by the study in South Africa. Like ourselves here now at DMI, we are considering to have a center of excellence for entrepreneurship. And our management is considering to, once we start, to have students be funded, be given some funds by the university, and also link them to the industry so that they can successfully start their own business. But we have not started yet, of course. This is just what they are thinking that we should be able to do. And also, as you can see, develop best practice courses and mechanisms. Possibly, we should talk about benchmarking ourselves maybe against international institutions like yourself, that side in Indonesia or elsewhere in Africa or Asia, Europe, so that we can learn from the best and be able to develop entrepreneurs that will develop successful businesses. So a number of recommendations there targeted at universities. What must they do? Now, having said what should investors do, if those things are done, we will have what we can call an entrepreneurial university. So this university needs to recognize and optimize the development of entrepreneurship. Both students and universities could benefit from higher education being entrepreneurial. Students and graduates need to become economically active, whereas universities need to generate a growing third stream of income. Now, if our universities become entrepreneurial universities, they're saying both students and universities could benefit from this. And if the universities are able to provide funds and resources to their students, universities will be able to get a third stream of income from these initiatives. Universities can incubate these businesses, and when students are making some profit, some of it could be shared with the university. When students are maybe doing some research which is innovative and is able to find a market outside there, the university would also be able to benefit. So maybe why are we saying this is because universities believe that entrepreneurship or funding students' entrepreneurial activities would be a waste of resources. They would rather get fees from students, and once students have graduated, let students be on their own without the university looking after their students thereafter. But we stand as universities to benefit from being an entrepreneurial university. Research and innovation are crucial aspects also in this. Our research so far, in our case, when students are doing their projects, is purely basic research. They just do research for the sake of getting a degree. But what if those research proposals or those research projects were targeted at starting new businesses? Then that would be a way to go to ensure that students have got a mindset that is pro-entrepreneurship. Universities have got a mindset that is pro-entrepreneurship. Whether somebody is studying engineering or they are studying the arts or they are studying education, somehow if we can orient our research and innovation towards generating that knowledge that can lead to entrepreneurship, it could be beneficial for the country, for the students, for the university, and the community at large. So, in conclusion, entrepreneurship education is a necessity throughout life. And entrepreneurship education plays an essential role in shaping attitudes, skills, and culture from the primary level to tertiary level. We believe, therefore, entrepreneurial skills, attitudes, and behaviors can be learned, and that exposure to entrepreneurship education throughout an individual's life learning path could be as well as reaching out to the economy can help change how our economies are performing, can help change the issue of poverty, can help change the way we are even delivering education itself, because we will have entrepreneurship ahead of us as our goal in whatever programs that we are offering. So entrepreneurship education is a necessity throughout life, and it plays an essential role in shaping our lives. Our universities have got the youth who have got ideas which are very innovative. I've got the youth who are still strong and very ambitious. Now, if we can change them into centers where students' entrepreneurship ideas can be encouraged and nurtured, they will become fertile grounds for entrepreneurship in our country and across the globe. Thank you very much. That was my presentation. I've reached the end of my presentation. And if the audience has got some questions, they can put those questions to me. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. And then we have a question from audience in room chat. Yeah. First question, we are from the Entrepreneurship Club. To increase sales, is it necessary to do sales outside the campus area?
May you repeat your question? Is it necessary?
I will write in the room chat. Yeah, just a moment, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, good question on the screen. Okay. Okay, we are from the Entrepreneurship Club. To increase sales, is it necessary to do sales outside the campus area? I would say yes, it is. Of course, when you are doing your practice, you start within the campus, but there's nothing that can limit you from selling outside the campus. For example, suppose you identify an organization outside that would like you to provide them with your product, definitely that will be a chance for you to grow your sales. That will be a chance for you to grow your business. So I would say, yes, it is necessary to do sales outside the campus, so long it is done without interrupting your studies. Number two, I study in the morning and go home until the afternoon according to the lecture. Are there any recommendations for business that can be done at night so that it does not interfere with lecture and study hours? I would say if you are in e-commerce where you are doing online businesses, definitely you can do business whether you are in class or you are sleeping. I think some of these can be done. For example, Indonesia and Malawi, we have probably more than 6 hours, 5 hours time difference. So when you are, suppose you've got something in Indonesia and you'd like to sell to Africa, it could be sold while you are sleeping and this side we are awake. So yeah, these days with the technology and internet, you can do business sometimes even without going in, I mean, being there yourself. You could be attending your lectures while your business is also running, or you could be asleep, but your business is still running, because not the whole world will be asleep when you are sleeping. Number three, how do we sell our products even though there are many competitors in the culinary world? Do I have to make a menu that is different from the one sold out there? What do you think about it? So I think culinary is about the catering, maybe the catering industry, the hospitality industry. So how do we sell our products even though there are many competitors? I think the issue could be maybe differentiation, if you can differentiate yourself from the others. Or you can define your own niche, find a niche market, which these other competitors are not able to satisfy, and serve that niche. So you should find something that can differentiate you from your competitors. In the same culinary industry, there could be some food or some food that others are not able to make better as you do yourself. So you can identify a niche market and serve that, and you still be able to do business. That's what I think. Do I have to make a menu that is different from the one sold out there? Yes, differentiation could be the way to go, because if you compete on price, sometimes it may not be that easy, because they may also follow your price, especially if you're reducing prices. But if you've got a different menu, you have differentiated yourself, you will be able to stand out and still be able to sell. And as I said, find a niche market, which is a smaller market that these may be big giants or others are not able to serve. That could be the way to go. Number four, how to raise the entrepreneurial spirit in yourself when everyone doesn't believe in my business. I think the best way would be to find those people who are doing business. Talk to people who are doing business. Don't talk to people who are not doing business, because obviously those who have not done business, they will demoralize you because they haven't done any business. But talk to those people who are in business, and they will tell you that they've failed a number of times, but they never gave up. So talk to such people and get encouragement from them, other than talking to the people who have never done businesses, because they will just discourage you. That is my opinion and my advice. And number five, what to do to increase sales while promoting through social media. Sometimes makes people suspicious of fraud, because we are a new shop and our ratings and reviews are still few. Yeah, of course, social media has got a lot be a fraud. website. On your website, you have your contacts, email addresses, maybe even physical addresses, phone numbers. And I hope in Indonesia, your phone numbers are also registered so much so that if somebody wants to find out about you, they can phone the telephone company to establish your existence. So as long as you do things the right way, following the law, even businesses online can still be trusted. So you can promote, but also maybe find referrals, the referees, the people can ask them about you, and definitely they will be able to believe that you are not a fraud. Okay, thank you for the questions.
Thank you, sir, for answering the question from our student. I think we don't have no more question. Maybe I can continue for this session in a close for this event today, sir.
May you repeat yourself? We can continue.
Yeah, I will. I think we don't have no more question from our audience.
All right. All right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. So unfortunately, we already went off the time until 3 p.m. in the Indonesian time and also 12 p.m. in Malawi time, and so sadly for and we would like to say thanks again for our speaker for their information will be beneficial audience, and I hope we can meet again at other event. Yeah, thank you for our audience to join with us until the last session, and I will say thank you for Mr. Yeah, I hope we can meet again in other event. Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ma'am. So it was a pleasure to be on this platform. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for Mr. Gabriel. Thank you so much, and I hope we can